Let's see, my definition of peace. Um, well, that has to deal with a lot of variables. Um, Obviously, with economy, um, segregation of race. So a peaceful life for me is basically, I guess, a sound home. Obviously, good friends, and I don't want to bring work into it, but I mean, obviously, excelling at work helps bring peace. Well, inner rest peace, stress, as well as, uh, I guess, life disrupts peace. I mean, like, seriously. Life gets hectic, and yeah, you have to find peace in those moments. I was born and raised in Philadelphia, so I come up to the slumlord type of landlord, and I'm not sure if it's a common thing in Philadelphia, but it seems like in certain areas like West Philadelphia, North Philly, some places in Germantown, it's common for um, landlords not to be involved as much as they should be in tenants' life, or like fixing up and stuff like that. The last place I was in, 46 in Chester, is in West Philadelphia. I used to live in basically like another efficiency that was super cheap that I loved. And the building was sold to like a shithead landlord that we never saw. We only got emails and like letters from. And I think after a couple months after they bought the place, they basically was like, okay, everybody has to bump to get out and like figure it out. And I don't think the reason that they were able to get away from that because a lot of people that living in my building were like illegal immigrants, like Africans, Haitians, and stuff like that. And obviously they didn't want to get caught up in court system being illegal. So I mean, we all had to find a place within that month. It was a little bit harder for me because I was in school at the same time, but I was able to get through that situation. And my first run-in with landlords is I used to live at 42nd and Chester, and got arrested so, but he had got murdered a couple years ago for some unforeseen circumstances. But like, he was a literal asshole all the time, and I'm not sure if it was just because he felt as though he had to have a certain power or like relationship with tenants, but like he was not that nice of a person. But I try to see the good in everybody. He has keys to all the apartments, so I guess if you're not home, he won't like text you and be like, "Oh, hey, are you home?" or something like that. He would basically like illegally go into your apartment and like check to make sure. I think that you're like keeping up on maintenance and stuff like that. Then he also was a drug dealer, so I guess I should have mentioned that. But so it didn't have that type of savory people around. I remember one time before I started living there, because he was a good friend, he had got basically like a home invasion where he had got like shot like 8 times and survived, and then like it just made him even worse. So I don't know why I moved in, but yeah. So obviously he's living a hard life and he took it out on those around him. But those are situational things. So I don't know. It could have probably been different. I think landlords interrupt people's peace, obviously with violating, apartment or like homeowner rules. And then also they're just, I'm not gonna say they're like constant disruptors, but I guess they're there to be a reminder to people that like, I own this. You're just renting it from me, or like, I'm giving you the privilege to, live in this place or something like that. So I had like one time when I was like late with rent, when I was living there on 42nd Chester. But I mean, I knew this guy for like 10 years before I moved in there. So that was funny, like the relationship, how it changed. And basically it was like, I was like 2 days late and he like knocked on my door and gave me a letter and saying I had 5 days to leave. And I was just like, yeah, in Philadelphia you can't do that. Like, you have to give like at least, a month's notice, stuff like that. But like, he was persistent on trying to get me out of there. So I guess he wanted to like pay me to leave, which I didn't understand. But I was able to come up with the money within like a day or so. But he got over it. But it took a couple of weeks. But I just felt like that put a strain on our friendship. And it probably wasn't the same after that because I just felt like that was a little too much, like on his part. So, yeah, landlords, they're great.